Okay, I'm ready to talk about this. So, it's been a really long time since the release of the Tortured Poets Department. And I think it's time to finally talk about Taylor Swift and Matty Healy. Where to begin with these two? I don't know. How about the fact that we as a community were completely blindsided? Okay? We were blindsided about how much she felt for him. I don't know about the 1975 or Matty Healy. I'm so out of touch with the lore of that I had no really judgments to make about the situation as it was happening in real time. So, because I've got to say, 2024 has been a hell of a year. And I would use dates and timelines and everything like that, but I honestly am not good with dates and timelines. I want to say that Taylor started the Eras Tour in 2023, if that's right. And this was fresh off a breakup. And they were doing all these stunts, sort of, mouthing I love you to each other. Anyway, yeah, we're getting into it. Matty and Taylor were dating. There's really good Taylor Swift timelines out there that I should be referencing as I talk about this, but I am in my car. From the timeline, I gathered that they were together for about 2-ish, 3-ish months, together. There were, I think, Daily Mail or something posts about his girlfriend at the time, Matty Healy's girlfriend at the time, being ghosted. And then him and Taylor going kind of live shortly after. So my commentary on this is that when sort of the Jover was announced and very immediately the Matty Healy thing was announced, I had no thoughts about it because I have no idea who this man is. All I know is that he's from a band and he might, I'm inclined to love a good alt guy. What's wrong with that? I didn't understand necessarily the backlash the Swifties had. I think that there was definitely the whole controversy with Ice Spice or something. He went on a radio show and some guys that he was adjacent to said something, and honestly, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck, guys. What do you guys say when you're getting fucked up with your friends? You know what I mean? So, but then Taylor Swift, being Taylor Swift, my God, she's so powerful. She swoops in and adds Ice Spice on a feature. And was she thinking of grabbing Ice Spice prior to that? I don't know. But my gosh, how did the cards align in that sense that her boyfriend was getting flack for, kind of insulting Ice Spice, and she goes in and she remedies the situation by giving Ice Spice a feature and whatever. And on her album she says, "I would die for your sins." That's exactly what she means, is she would damage control all her life just to pick up this "now what I know is a loser" guy. He's like Oscar the Grouch and his trash can. She would make it work, you know what I mean? And that's the whole thing, is Taylor has been slumming. She's been condescending, and it's most certainly not becoming of her. Okay, let's say that. But anyway, I didn't know about any of. I didn't know. I'm trying to show my perspective in terms of I didn't understand why the backlash to this guy was so crazy. And the backlash to this guy matters a lot because it's definitely what led to their breakup. You know what I mean? So, Taylor and Matty were hot and heavy. They were on the up and up trajectory. He was saying, "You're the love of my life." She was saying, everything makes sense now. My Peter has come back. We're flying to Neverland together. It's going to be amazing. Even though I will say, I don't feel like Peter is about Matty Healy. When I listen to it, I'm like, there's not enough vitriol for it to be about Matty Healy. It almost sounds like it's about Harry Styles. Oh my god, Harry Styles. That's who we all thought was the one that got away. Oh my, but weren't we wrong? Weren't we so wrong? So, anyways, back to Matty Healy and Taylor Swift. Alright, so they're going on this roller coaster together, flying to each other, whatever. And, you know, they break up, and they break up so quickly, it's almost as if to assuage the backlash, because people were like writing letters to Taylor. People were really nutty. And I'm pretty sure what happened was, she was like, hey, Matty Healy, with your Heelys and your Jehovah's Witness suit, why don't we take a break and then reconvene when people find you more palatable? Like, I don't know, let's take you around the world to do some charity work. Let's rehabilitate your image. And he was like, oh, what do you mean break up? What do you mean? You're gonna let these people drive us apart, Taylor? You're gonna let these people... He's British, right? Because I still do... Like, after listening to the album, I have no desire to give this guy a cent of my money, even on, like, streams on Spotify. Like, I don't want him to get a dime. So that's why I have not done any research. I leave it to people like Swiftologists to do the research, and the people who created, you know, the crazies to do the research, which we respect. We need crazies in our society too. We need, you know, you're valuable. So, because here's the thing, like, I was like, why would you have Taylor Swift in the bag? Like, listen, this is not, you know how Jake Gyllenhaal and John Mayer, whatever, they're kind of like Taylor's type, such as they're successful in their own right, and they have this pretension and kind of snobbery about them, stemming from like intellectualism or something. And Taylor fancies her a man who's an intellectual, okay? Which is why Travis, oh, I don't know, maybe she's learned her lesson. I'm not gonna speak on Travis, but I had this working theory about Taylor and Matty Healy, because I'm like listening to this album talking about how he ghosted her, how he left her, how he deserted her. Then there's one time she flips the script, where she talks about, like, you needed me, but you needed drugs more. Was it Chloe Sophia or Marcus? That's the song. Where she kind of says that I abandoned you. Like, I don't believe that. You know how when you do something, you always retrospectively can come up with a bunch of reasons why you did it? Anyway, that's my whole, I don't believe it. Yeah, he's a drug addict, but again, this girl is down bad. I doubt she would have quit unless he forced her to quit. And I feel like what happened was he drastically, like, lost feelings. And this is like a divine intervention thing, okay? Sometimes when you're with a bad man, God will step in, because he can change the hearts and minds of man, right? He can manipulate those things, and he'll make stuff go ice cold really, really quick, right after it's been shimmering and glimmering. And I feel like that's one theory, is he very quickly lost feelings, and we know he's capable of long-term relationships, but I feel it's so interesting that, like, Taylor never can get, like, more than a couple months with the so-called the one before it burns, like, until the fuel runs out. So it's just something I've been thinking about, like, why would you do such a thing? Like, you have Taylor Swift in the bag. Like, let's not act like men don't view women as trophies, especially since now she's considered acclaimed. She's beloved by everyone because of Folklore and Evermore. She's no longer just considered a pop songwriter. She's considered a writer. Like, she's gained a level of prestige that she, you know, when she was an ingenue and she was getting clowned on, she was not, you know, she was the butt of people's jokes. But now she's not at that level. So to be with Taylor Swift now is not to be with Taylor Swift then, okay? So I don't want to act like men aren't concerned with their images. They are. And so being with Taylor Swift right now is absolutely not like a knock to your image. However, I'm still, I'm still thinking, what the hell happened? And aside from divine intervention, what happened was Matty's pride got to him, because he's a musician in his own right. His band has notoriety in his own right, and I think he has previously said, I'm never gonna date. He didn't want to date Taylor Swift because he wasn't ready for the publicity, right? He didn't want the headlines and the people following him and stuff like that. And that's an interesting thing to discuss in its own right. But what I want to say is he finally got to the point where he's like, no, I want to be with Taylor Swift. I wanted people to know I bagged Taylor Swift. And this is supported by the album, right? He like paraded her around like a trophy. Because this guy, y'all better have watched Sex and the City, but this is like season 1, episode 1 actually. He's a modelizer. Like he's a collector. He likes to date super hot women. And I think it's just Taylor, she does qualify. She's very adorable and everything, but she's also a pop star and she's beautiful, and they have this history together. And the history together is what humanizes the relationship, and is what makes me like, well, what are the particulars? What in particular happened? But whenever I decide to do that, I'm like, no, let's zoom back out. Let's zoom back out and talk about man, woman in a society, how man and women perform in society for the audience of society. And I think this sloppy Oscar the Grouch loser couldn't fucking do better in his wildest dreams than Taylor Swift. But here's the thing, he was not well received by her society, i.e. by society in general, because of the backlash that everybody had against him. I'm pretty sure that shook him to his core. Like, especially remember, musicians, artists, performers, they have egos. They have really big egos that need to be stroked. And if he thought we're gonna be a power couple, like, and then I'm not even gonna say what I think about what Taylor was thinking. Taylor, when you're in love, you're delulu. You're delulu. And I don't want to take away from the reality of these feelings, because they feel extremely real. I never want to say they're not real. But it's just that I don't know, I've always been extremely good at seeing red flags in men and being turned off by them. I don't know, did she not see the red flags, or was she so preoccupied with making it work, or maybe he was just so good. I mean, maybe he's also at that age where he's really good at telling women what they want to hear. So, oh gosh, where was I? Anyway, back to why was Taylor so blindsided by the whole breakup? Because here's the thing, Matty Healy, hated by everyone, clowned on by everybody, being told he's literally nothing, which, correct. But remember, that does something to someone psychologically. And here's the thing, he can't get back at society. He can't, say, fuck you, society, I don't respect you. There's no there's no way to reconcile the fact that everyone loves Taylor, everybody respects Taylor, and that's one world, and in that same world, everybody thinks he's trash. Like, there's no way where he could exist in this world. Do you understand? That's why Taylor, in her songs, I think I Hate It Here, she references going to another planet in her mind, and or maybe even on Down Bad, where she talks about taking him to another planet where everybody understands. Because on this planet, nobody understands. And on this planet, no one understands, and no one is gonna let her and him live out their delusion that they're a power couple. Like, they're not Jay-Z and Beyonce. And it's just like what she says, you're not Patti Smith. I mean, I'm not Patti Smith, you're not, who does she say? I don't remember. Anyway, but they're not these like great renegade like artists. They're from the 60s. They're modern idiots. And the thing is, she has the humility to say that's the case. But he obviously doesn't. He obviously didn't. I mean, because I'm pretty sure he's concerned with being a legend, right? He's concerned with having a certain... He does want to be viewed a certain way in the public eye, right? He cares. And it's okay to care. It's definitely okay. It's a natural thing to care about what people think about you. But this is why he had to literally tear Taylor apart. By ghosting her, by leaving her, by making her feel less than. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, Matty Healy is a guy who could just go back to a model, to one of his whatever models, and feel like the big man on campus in his own little circle. He's never going to have that with Taylor. Taylor is always going to be the biggest fish. He's like the minnow, you know? So the only way, he couldn't, nuke society. He couldn't get back at them for what they did to him and his confidence, but he could hate the thing that they love, and that's Taylor. He could turn his aggression towards her, because here's the thing, she still loves him. Everyone loves her, but she loves him. And it's like that Michael Scott episode of The Office where, right, everybody loves Dwight's speech, his Mussolini speech, and Michael goes, well, I'm the guy who makes the guy that everybody was like praising laugh. So technically I did it. Technically I'm the one who controls the stage, or who controls the masses. If you don't watch The Office, I mean, like, I'm sorry, that's American culture. You have to watch it. But that's the point, is if you hurt the thing that everyone loves, it's kind of like you're doing it to everyone. You know what I mean? If you reject America's sweetheart, it's a value judgment that everything that society loves is shit, which is kind of what he stands for, right? That's what any sort of alt artist is trying to say, is that kind of society has got it wrong. Society values the wrong things. So, anywho, that's my little rant, because I don't know how else to. I hope you guys understand what I've been trying to say. Taylor, I hope somebody just tells Taylor, they're like, he can never ever go back to you. And I know you couldn't either. Because I've been in a situation, when a guy like insults you so, like, insults your pride, but you still want him, and you're like, man, I would have to put aside my pride and dignity to take you back, and I would never do something like that. But in her song, I'm gonna get him back, she's discussing with herself, right, whether she's gonna fuck up his life, or if all is gonna be forgiven. And here's the thing, Taylor, he's never gonna come back. He's never gonna come back, because the only thing that he has on you, the only thing that is gripping his pride together, is the fact that he can deny you his presence. He can deny you his love. And he knows you're always going to be thirsty. In fact, like, the moment, I don't think there's ever going to be a moment where you stop caring, because he's purposefully made the decision to not give you closure. Listen to that again. He's purposefully made the decision to stay the one who has to feel some sort of semblance of power. He's chosen to hurt you. And that's because, and it's nothing to do with you, it's to do with the mass rejection that he was subject to. Okay? So, it's really tough. It's really tough when you think somebody's your twin flame. It's really tough when you think, I met my one, and I mean, look at Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. I actually was thinking about this relationship because it's kind of a similar thing. You have a superstar girl, superstar pop girl, and then you have someone in a kind of more niche, adjacent but more alternative sector, right? And my whole thing is like, A$AP Rocky and Rihanna, they really have a lot in common. They're really gonna make it. I said this like 3 years ago in a video. But I'm like, the only thing that would stop them from making it is A$AP Rocky feeling emasculated by Rihanna and Rihanna's success. And so far, I have noticed he's a very humble guy. He's a very humble and grateful guy. And it definitely works. I mean, look at them. They have 2 kids now. And I said that. I'm just, you can trust me when I talk about relationships. I really know what I'm talking about. Compatibility, I mean. I really see good compatibility. But also, it almost is like divinely orchestrated. I don't know how else to say. Like, they've known each other for 10 years, and they grew up. And that's why it's so sad for me and to see this whole Matty Healy Taylor thing, because she may, on a cosmic level, not be wrong. They may have been what was divined, but his reaction is so bad and toxic that, yeah, it's never gonna work. And the thing is, if there was just a Planet Taylor, or Planet Taylor, we worship every decision she makes. If there was such a thing, he wouldn't want to be there. Like, this is a guy that has too much of his own identity that he claims as superior, and he needs to be seen as well. So I just see this as really unfortunate, because oftentimes knowing of someone for so long, holding on for feelings for so long, it makes this story, this fairy tale, you're setting up a fairy tale, the bump set spike, and you're waiting for the spike to come, and when it does and it's a flop, it's so devastating. And she hasn't felt this before, and she hasn't felt this since, and it's a really kind of scary feeling, because it honestly deflates your hope of love. She says on her album multiple times, like, okay, so there's no soulmates, there's There's no orchestration, divine orchestration. And I'm like, yes, there is, Taylor. There is, but there's also the free will component, right? This, and that's the part, is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can tell the horse that she's exactly your height. You were born a year apart. You have everything in common. But if a man or if somebody feels forced into something, or if they feel like, when you corner someone, which is kind of essentially what sort of happened, we all cornered him. Well, I wasn't even aware it was going on, but I would have been with you. I would have been with you, because the problem with everything with Taylor is that nobody is good enough for her. Like, to make a good romantic match, like, you have to have compatibility. You have to be sort of social equals. And it also really helps when you have mythology and story and time on your side, like she had with Matty Healy. Unfortunately, he will never ever rise to her level. I don't even think he's that good of a songwriter. Like, I briefly skimmed through some Genius lyrics, because I'm not giving this man any plays, but he's not that good. And I'm inclined to say that Taylor is making a mountain out of a molehill, not in terms of like loving him. I believe she does love him, but this man is not worth the hullabaloo. Like, I don't know, there's like men, like, okay, there's men worth losing your mind about. I cannot think of any examples at this point. Okay, well, I can, but they're from IRL, they're not. There are men that are worth, like, going hard for, you know what I mean? You know, like, oh, girl, yeah, oh, he's so attractive, or oh, he's a genius. Like, there's stuff that makes sense, and then there's stuff that you meet him and you're like, this guy, this is the guy that broke, this is the guy? I'm sorry. Get your head checked. This is the guy? And I mean, look, I will say one more thing. I have seen a Chicken Shop Date episode with him, and I get it. He's got these like soulful heroin addict eyes that like makes you feel sorry for him or something and think you can save him. And that's the thing. It's like Taylor is so out of her feminine energy because she's always doing the most. And that's the thing. That's why everybody loves her. Because she's such a, I want to say this, everybody loves masculine women. They do. Because we love girl bosses. We love achievers. We love people who are like exceptional, go above and beyond. We love that. We worship that. It doesn't, I think, work out so well IRL. I feel like what guys really want is somebody that everybody would kind of hate. Like, I've noticed that the girls that guys really like are the girls everyone kind of hates. And that's in the sense that they are useless. They are just useless girls. And I think we need to have a teachable moment and realize it's okay to be useless. That's honestly kind of how people have viewed girls for thousands of years. And you don't believe me? Look at China. Look at China. So anyway, for Taylor to not be a doer, fixer, whatever, to not be in that energy is a huge hindrance for her. Because it's like, romance is one of those things that you can't manipulate. You can't force it. You can't, if the problems are arising, that's the chorus line. That's destiny. That's God. He's getting in your way. And honestly, the moment you get some bumps in the road, I would start paying attention really, really hard. Anyway, that's what I have to say about Taylor and Matty. And God rest your soul, Taylor. I'm really, really sorry this happened to you. And I just hope that we all learn from this and here's the other thing. Oh my gosh. I don't consider this necessarily a Christian channel, but I would say that my viewpoints definitely are influencing how I see the world. Let me tell you something. You are not going to find the love of your life casually dating. Like, hanging, how do I explain it? You're not going to find him, like, doing sloppy millennial dating. Do you know what I mean when I say sloppy millennial dating? Like the whole situationship, like no strings attached. And that's the thing about Cruel Summer. Cruel Summer is a genius of a song. It's like magnum opus, baby. It's so good. But it's all about playing games, and it's all about somebody who's kind of very British and definitely like fucking with your mind until you get it together, until you finally get together, until you finally show your cards. That doesn't work. Neither does the whole I got somebody, you've got somebody, but we're meant to be, we'll come to that. That's not gonna work. Okay, I need you, when you approach dating, be the most moral person you can possibly be. Like, be incredibly respectful of people's time and of people's feelings. Okay, stay tuned. I make thoughtful pop culture commentary whenever something I think of note arises. And I talk about movies too, movies that I really like. And yeah, this is whimsical. This is on a whim. So no expectations for when I'll be back. But I so am so thankful that you listened all the way to the end. You have no idea. Your time is valuable, and I'm really happy you spent it with me. So thank you. All right. God bless. Big love. Bye.